Hi there. This is David Oleski with the Rittenhouse Square Fine Art Show, 5 o'clock at 5 o'clock Club, live at 5 from the home office here in Westchester, Pennsylvania. And today I'm going to be joined with one of my favorite people, Sandra Sedmak Engel. Here she is. She just joined and she just requested to be in a live video. So just hold your horses for there for a second, Sandra, and allow me to wet my mouth with my delicious mystery beverage in my Hello Kitty cup. Oh, that's refreshing. All right, so I'm going to bring Sandra on board here. You'll have to forgive this amazing sunlight I have in my face because it's just a beautiful October day out here in the county, and we're celebrating it with some really bright sunshine. So here I'm going to bring Sandra on board and prepare to be amazed and astounded. It's like a who's who of everybody important. I see Brian Murphy's here, and gosh, we got everybody on Sandra.
Hi.
How are you?
Did you just tell me to hold my horses, mister?
As though you actually had horses. Yes, I've been racing to try to be here right now, and I'm amazed that I got here with just probably seconds to spare while it was still 5 o'clock.
Well, look, you're here, I'm here. Life is good, baby. Life is good.
Life
How are you?
is, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. Yeah.
So is there life after the September Rittenhouse Square Fine Art Show?
Is there life after the September Rittenhouse Square Fine Art Show? Yes, there is life after the September show. I just finished up my last outdoor show of the season a couple of weeks ago. And you know the feeling of that, like
Oh yeah.
when you're done and then you're at home and you're in the studio, you're like, wait a minute, what is happening? I have all this time on my hands. It's kind of a crazy feeling. It's a good feeling, but it's kind of a crazy feeling not to have to get in the car every other day and drive to peddle our wares, to peddle our fine
The
art.
thing that troubles me is I question if maybe I'm like an adrenaline junkie that I thrive on the anxiety of a show. Like I need to have other shows booked.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you something because I'm going to tell you something, David Aliski.
Right.
I went, in the past year, I had a sign and graphic design business. I sold it, I closed it. But so I was doing that. I was a professional artist. And then I was chairing the Rittenhouse show. And I stopped all of that. And for a couple months, I really kind of just like spun around in circles. I didn't know what to do with myself. But then all of a sudden it was like, wait, I don't have to like live on the edge all the time. It's a pretty amazing feeling. So,
Yeah,
and I
every
started meditating, which
well,
helps.
yeah, meditation helps too. I joined the Rittenhouse Square Fine Art Show Board of Directors pretty much as I started my professional art show career. So as long as I've
Oh,
been a professional artist, I've been serving on the Rittenhouse board. So I kind of connect all of the things we do to run that show with all the things I have to do to balance everything else I'm doing.
yeah, yeah.
I couldn't
And
imagine not having one without the other.
well, it's possible, David. It's
I
possible.
know
I'm
you're
sure like
living
Sharon
proof.
and Chris are going, shut up, Sandy. But I don't think people understand how much work it takes to run the show and how much work everybody on the board does. Like it is, I mean, it's a labor of love, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of work. It's a big commitment, and it pays off because look at the shows that get put on. It's pretty amazing.
Right, right. I mean, I wouldn't give it up for anything. And we have a great crew, and and you included. So you're even still helping us out even after your tenure, and it's a great thing that, when we all work together to make it happen, and it happens as well as it does, and with minimal
Yeah.
problems, and just maximum return. I mean, everybody's so thrilled. Everybody's, the people, the group running the show are like a family, and we want the artists, the exhibiting artists, to feel like they're part of the family. And I think we succeed with that.
Oh, 100%. And I've been hearing word on the street is that the show has always been a top tier show. Always. It's always been an amazing show. But I feel like for a long time it was kind of like the best kept secret of the universe of the traveling band of artists. And it's just such a great show that I think that secret is getting out a little bit, which is a good
It
thing.
is a good thing. We should share. It's our duty to, if we have something good, we should do our best to try to share it with the world.
Yeah,
And, you know,
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And you're always looking for what am I? You're always looking for new artists. I mean, it's good to have new artists. It's good to have, fresh blood and different, you know, not, I know that we want our old favorites at the show every year, but it's good when, I think for a long time, the world of art shows was aging out a little bit. A lot of the artists who did this for a living were, as happens, getting a little older and older. And for a while there, it was getting a little tenuous because it didn't seem like younger artists were interested in pursuing a career as an outdoor art show artist. But I think that's changing now. I see a lot more young faces. I see a lot of fresh talent, especially at this show. So
I,
that's a good thing.
I just did a show where they actually had a category for an award for artists under 40.
What?
I don't know, I feel like I'm being
Ages,
discriminated against. I
ages.
mean, I only started doing outdoor shows when I was 38, so yeah, that ship has sailed. I mean, it's such a narrow window of opportunity to even be
Yeah,
eligible for an award like that. I mean, why can't they say like artists above 60? And suddenly, I
yeah,
guess that would be pretty much, almost all of us.
yeah. That's funny. Like emerging artists, artists under 40. I don't know how to feel about that one, but
Well, we got to, it's like a marathon. We run our race, and you hand off the baton to the next, to the younger ones that are going to keep on running the same race, and hopefully, everything is going to keep, running to how you'd like it, but knowing they're going to continue making the best decisions they can at the time. And
oh
you have to
yeah,
just trust, the template you've made as working going forward with the future.
yeah,
And actually, I
yeah.
think that was similar to the speech that Barack Obama gave when he was stepping out, and mentioning how it's like a marathon, and you hand the baton to the next, but we don't have to go
David
there.
Alessi, you just compared yourself to Barack Obama. I just
Well,
want to go on record.
aim high is what I say. If you got to compare yourself to somebody, you know,
Well, why not someone amazing like that?
yeah,
I think
why
that's
not?
hilarious.
You know,
Someone just commented the student art at both shows was amazing this year. The name is up in the fuzz. I can't see who
yeah,
made
the
that
name
comment.
that was Joel Eaton Wonderton.
Oh,
Thank you,
yeah,
Joel, for
yeah,
chiming in there.
yeah.
Yeah, the
But
student artists are amazing, and I think I one time I started having like a real low bar to meet for art schools and what art schools were creating, just because I knew people in art school, and it seemed like a lot of the curriculums were based more on feelings and creativity, and not so much on the disciplines and the structured lessons that, like, for my art school education. And I think I'm seeing more of that, more of the structured discipline in the exhibitors that come to our show. Not to say that we would not be open to people that are purely expressive and creative, but I feel like, personally, there should be building blocks of discipline
yeah,
to.
and I think there needs to be like a happy medium in any like upper level education for fine arts that, because you need the basics, you need the foundations in order to be good in my opinion, in my humble opinion. you need the basics of how to actually create the work in order to be as expressive as you can be in a way that's going to communicate well.
Right. That being said, I do see some stellar artists, not even exhibitors, but just artists in like the world class, museum market that I can't imagine where the structure and discipline even came in to get to where they are.
Yeah.
Some of the, Yayoi Kusama and Helen Frankenthaler, and just, some of these, top level traded artists that I'm just wondering, how could I use the discipline I have to explore in such a free form, broad range as what they have made their voice?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a whole nother conversation,
Well,
I
it
think.
is, and it's
Unless you
learn
learn
what
how to
you've
do it
learned,
now,
but
but
it's another whole thing. But
yeah,
so,
absolutely.
well, so let's get the nuts and bolts first. How long have you actually exhibited with the Rivendell Square Fine Art Show?
Oh, wow. How long have I exhibited? I didn't start art shows until I was like in my late 40s. I know it's hard to believe because I look like I'm in my late 40s now. Um, um, but I think, let's see, I was on the board for like 7 years. And so I think I've been with the show like 10 or 11
Hmm.
years. Um, it's been a while, but I'm definitely not as old school as some of you guys who, did the show when the show took a commission and it was actually inside of the park, and um, there were no telephones and that kind of thing. Um,
Right, using
so
Morse
yeah, but it's
code,
it's
tapping
been a
on
while.
railings, and
But I do remember coming to this show and thinking, like, as I was setting up my booth, and actually the very first day that I was there was one of the only times I remember the show closing down because of weather, because it was torrential downpours. But I remember walking the show after I got set up and thinking, like, this is the show. Like, this is where I want to be. It was, I mean, and most of the people that come to the show know, it really is the best of the best. The quality is amazing, and it just really made me feel like um, I can do this. I can actually make this a career, um, selling fine art in a tent on a sidewalk. I mean, the whole concept is so crazy,
yeah.
but it shows like this show make it work. And, that's just proved by like the patrons coming back year after year after year. So, um, yeah, always been my favorite, still my favorite.
So, in all the years you've done it, what changes have you seen? I mean, a lot of them you helped to create during your tenure as the
During
chairperson
my, during my reign.
during your reign of
See,
terror.
I don't actually represent the show anymore, so I can say smart assy things
Yeah,
live
well,
on
you can. You
Instagram.
can let it all
Um,
out.
yeah, I mean, the show, I honestly feel like if it's possible, the quality of the show just keeps going up and up and up. Um, and, obviously, like for as far as the artists go, the setup is easier, the breakdown is easier. Um, the communication with the team is so easy. But I've also seen, I felt like for a little while, the patron base, and I'm saying this in the most loving way, was getting, I don't want to use the word, it was, the patron base was burning out a little bit, if that makes sense. Like, it was the people that were coming to the show were art lovers, people there to buy art, but a lot of people that had been coming to the show for a really long time, and we've all heard that expression, like, I just don't have anywhere to put it. I wish I had wall space. And I feel like in the last few years, and I think it started like just a little before COVID, the show is bringing in, and I think a lot of it is due to the amazing marketing that's been happening, like a whole new collector base. Um, I get a lot of I have work ranging from like 6 by 6 up to 30 by 30. And I've seen a lot of younger folks, and younger to me is like 20s, 30s, coming in and buying, I call them starter pieces, smaller original pieces of art, but um, a younger clientele that is really excited about starting an art collection, like a serious art collection. And I think that's amazing because I don't do as many shows as you, but I do a handful, and you don't see that at a lot of shows, like the excitement from the patron base and just the diversity of the people coming in, and they're there, they're excited, they want to buy work. That's really awesome. The Hello Kitty mug of Dave's was delightfully unexpected.
Well, that's the softer side of David Oleski. Just so you all get to see it here first.
What's in the Hello Kitty mug,
Oh,
Oleski?
that's the mystery beverage. I'll be posting
That's a
that
mystery
possibly
beverage.
in the comments, like after the broadcast,
Is it
so you can all.
pink? I bet I know what's in there, but I'll keep my mouth
It's
shut.
not quite pink, but no. But you're right. I think seeing a younger audience is kind of the hallmark of a healthy show. I think it has to do with the demographic, has to do with the national economy, but it's also just who you're reaching and who you're connecting with. And yeah, I agree. I'm getting more first-time buyers in the past year or two than I had for a long time.
Yeah.
There's
Do
which
you
is
feel like they're younger as well, or not so much?
yeah. I think they're younger. I am. Yeah, a lot of people that they haven't bought art. That I get the honor of being their first major art purchase, and
Isn't that so exciting? That is such an exciting feeling. I was just having a conversation the other day with Teresa Haig, our beloved Teresa
oh,
Haig.
Teresa of all
That's
people.
Teresa Haig art. Give her a little shout out, our old chairman years ago. Um, but I was talking to her about that feeling. Like it's amazing to sell work to like when someone wants to take your work home, that's a high like no other. But for me anyway, um when there's like a younger person that I know um, doesn't necessarily have a couple $1,000s, and they just figure out a way to have it. And it's when they tell you, like, this is the first piece of original art that I've ever bought on my own, that it makes me get a little teary-eyed. I mean, it's such a good
Oh,
feeling. I know, but it's like an honor. It really is an honor, and usually, those are the kind of people that you get to know, and they get to know you, and they keep coming back, and it's just the relationships that you can build with your collectors is amazing.
well,
Back hair fool. I'm so friggin' old. Every one of my buyers is younger. You're my age, baby. Ease up.
I think that there's a thrill to disarming their intrepidation, like when they walk up and they say, "So, how do we do this?" And and you explain, well, you would let me know what you like, and then we would arrange payment, and then you either bring it home and install it yourself, or we could deliver it and install it.
Yeah.
And then just like they light up, like, wow, it's really that easy. And I
Yeah.
like being able to disarm them and let them know how accessible we really are and how simple of a thing
Hmm.
this is. You want it, we'll help you to place it. We will help you to pick where to put it, how to hang it, or if you're not sure which piece, we can help with that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's charming when these young families, young collectors are getting started, and I just and they suddenly feel so grown up, like that was a really adult thing to do, to
Right.
buy a major
Right.
piece of
It's
artwork.
like a rite of passage
Yeah,
almost. Yeah.
yeah,
It's like I didn't go to Target or IKEA. Like I bought this from an artist, a working artist, and I get to take a piece um of them
yeah.
home with me. And yeah, and have the only one of this. I mean, that's the really special thing. It's that
Well, and
It's
that's just
like nobody else can have it. It's not like a pair of like Manolo Blahniks that are super expensive and a status statement, but anybody can buy them if they can afford them. Like this is it. It's the one and only. So
right. I
that's
was talking to an exhibitor, and he was telling me how much he loves the show, and it occurred to me that we don't have photography, so at no point will you see somebody right next to you just phoning in order to be drop shipped from
right.
the manufacturer straight to the buyer. That just it'll never happen at this show, and
Yeah.
there's something reassuring about that, both for us as exhibitors and for the public, to know that every one of these things you buy was made by that person right there with those two hands.
And it's the only one. It's the only one. There will never be another one. And not only the patrons, but the artists really appreciate that. Like our artists, see, I'm like months out, and I'm still in hour mode. But I mean, the show takes the originals only policy really seriously. And I know there have been a couple times when I was still part of the show, and we asked artists to leave because they were trying to pawn off reproductions as originals. And A, you don't want to deceive the public that way, but it's an originals only show. So when someone does that's not fair to anybody there. And I know the other artists appreciate it when the show like makes a rule, makes a policy, and especially a policy like that, and stands by it. So it doesn't happen often, but it has happened, and there's just no room for that. There's
Right,
no room for
and
that.
maintaining quality of exhibitors also kind of it ensures the quality of the um, collectors, of the public, of the
Yeah,
attendees is the word I'm
absolutely.
looking for, that they know what to expect because the artists know what to deliver.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, it's great.
it's exciting.
So
What you want to talk about now?
well, chemistry of paint, yellow. What do you do to make your yellow opaque? Maybe this is like right off the wall here, but this is something I've been struggling with. And
Really?
yeah, I mean, like lemon yellow. It's just a tint. It's just a hue. You
Oh, you
mix
know
it
what,
with white,
what
and
you
that suddenly
do?
gives it opacity. And we're talking about oil
I
paint here. So if
know.
anybody down there in the little comment peanut gallery section has something to chime in with, I'm all ears
I
because
know the answer. I
go
know
right ahead. You have your hand up. Okay.
the call on me, David. I know. You know what you can do? Cold wax.
I keep
When
hearing
you
cold
add
wax.
you add cold wax to any oil, and it just like it gives it the most beautiful texture, which at first I think you would go, "Ooh, I don't know if I like this." But it's you
With
can you
that
can use
voice, really?
that's what happens when you use cold wax. You'll start talking like this. Um, but it gives the paint an opacity that it's try it. When I come up and
What actually
see you,
is cold
David and I are
wax?
going to paint together. I'm going to bring you some cold wax. Cold wax. Did you just ask me what cold wax was?
Yeah, well, yeah. What actually? I mean, sounds like it's just wax, and
Well,
it's cold. But
it's it. It is. You can buy it in like pints. You can buy it in gallons. It kind of looks like Crisco, but really all it is. Oh, you got some Gamlen's Radiant Yellow is pretty opaque. Um,
huh?
it is filtered beeswax that like you can literally put beeswax comes in like big chunks like bricks, and you can put it in a jar and pour some Damar resin in it and seal the jar up, and it'll just eventually break the beeswax down into, like I said, it kind of looks like Crisco.
Hmm.
Um, but you should try it. It's fun. I'm getting into it now because I was painting with encaustics for so long, which is painting with hot pigmented melted wax, and I can't do it anymore because it messed my hands up. So I've been exploring the world of cold wax. and I like
Oh,
it. Yeah.
all right. Because I've been trying the Velasquez medium, which is bicarbonate. Uh, it's a white ground suspended in linseed oil, which it starts to work with certain kinds of applications, but if you're just going directly for opacity, it's still not there.
Well, the linseed oil is gonna like make it slick, I would think.
But when it comes out, it's like the bottom of the paint can. It's got a grit to it. It's got a real serious weight to it. And I mean, the great thing when with still life painting with a brush, you mix it with the paint and you immediately get a drag on the brush like the paint is 3 days old. But it's specifically with my abstracts, with the opacity I'm trying to get of one color over another, just really challenged by how do you get opacity so that your original gesture did not have to be gone over 10 times just so it's the right color.
Cold wax.
Cold wax.
Cold wax,
All
fam.
right.
End of story.
I'll try.
And also the nice thing about adding a cold wax, and you have to be careful about the ratio. We're probably boring people to death here.
That's right.
Um, is that it naturally speeds up the drying time of
Hmm.
the oil. You know, it doesn't like dry overnight, but
Right.
it'll set to the touch in a couple of days
Right.
as opposed to, you know, a week, which
Hmm.
is kind of nice. So if you're doing those like top layers on your, I don't know,
Yeah.
your,
Things.
what do you call them? Color.
Stuff.
They're not even really color fields. They're like movement to me. I don't know what they are.
Yeah, I just updated my website and got everything loaded, and you know when you get to see all of your work in one place, suddenly you start second guessing. Am I really all that?
All that in a bag of chips.
Yeah,
You're
all
all
that.
that.
No,
You're all that, baby. You're all
thank
that.
you. You're always too kind. So,
Yeah.
what's next for you? Do you have the winter off? I mean, I know you're doing the infamous 25 days of minis with
25
the
days of minis.
with
Yeah, I was considering setting up my camera. I've got a couple of my pro panels in my studio and I've got all my smaller pieces hanging on them and I was like, I'm going to sit in front of all those pieces and give everybody like a sneak preview, but I decided not to do that cuz, you know, part of the fun of 25 days is the
the
surprise of
unveiling.
the unveiling. For those of you guys that don't know, um, I'm gonna plug this show a little
Yeah,
bit.
please
It's
do.
an online
Please
show in
do.
December, and it's called 25 Days of Minis, and it's an online show, and it goes from December 1st to the 25th, and every day there's a group of artists. There's a lot of us this year. I think there's like 75. Um, um, and each day you get an email. It's called the Daily Delivery, and each artist reveals a new original piece of art that's 12 by 12 or smaller, and it's less than, it used to be 500. I think it's 550 now, but it's really fun. So if you haven't, it's a good way to check out new artists. It's a great way for like new collectors to start an art collection because the work is smaller and the price point is lower. But yeah, I've been finishing up my minis, working on a couple commissions, and just I'm just in this, you know, I finished doing all that stuff that I was telling you about, and then I had to switch mediums. So I used to be an oil painter, went to encaustics, and now, and I thought I would go back to oils, but then I wasn't feeling it, just oil. So I'm playing with all this new mixed media stuff and
Mm.
actually experimenting with. You can see some of my really fun, cool drawings that I've been doing.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I took a class with Martin Campos. He's a Philly-based guy. Do you
Yes,
know
yeah, yeah.
Martin? Yeah, and he's all about like deconstructing the figure.
Mm.
And it was like hard because my brain was going, no. But then after a couple days, it was like liberating. So I have all this time to just paint and create artwork for the first time in my life. Like, this is the first, we've talked about this. This is the first time in my life that I've ever just been. an artist, and
Oh,
it is flippin' amazing. And I remember you saying to me years ago, we were talking about a new painting that I had done. I don't know if you remember this or not. I think it might have even been at Rehoboth. And you were like, I would really love to see what you can do if you just paint.
hmm.
And that really kind of like stuck in my head. And I was like, why aren't I just painting? And actually giving yourself or having given myself the freedom to do it, it's the best feeling in the world. It was kind of scary and it was stressful because I was giving up everything that I knew, with the encaustics, and I was so out of my comfort zone. But now I'm just having fun, and I'm getting over. Oh, Leela says, love that idea, deconstructing the figure. That's kind of what you do, Leela. Um, I'm I'm finally over the suppose nobody likes what I'm doing now.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
Um, and that's like a big scary mind F word. To let that thought get in your head. But, I think as artists we all do it at some point. Um, but yeah, I'm feeling kind of liberated.
I mean, self-objectivity is one of the tools we use, and that does include being critical of what you've done to demand that you're growing in some way.
Right.
I think it's a healthy thing to second guess what you've done so that the end of one piece goes right into the beginning of the next. And whatever you've learned from that, you'll use on the next piece.
Yeah.
That no piece you do is going to be your final opus that sums up everything you are because you're starting another piece right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because I mean, I think you and I are the same age. Um, a lot of a lot of my friends are retiring, and they're like, oh, we're gonna buy a house down in Myrtle Beach and putz around and mini golf, and that's fabulous. But to me, um, I feel like I'm just getting started again, you know, and I have no, like, the thought of, I don't think artists ever retire. Do you?
Well, we don't have to. I mean, as long as, somebody could, push her wheelchair up to the easel and put the brush in her hand. I mean, I saw, old film of Rousseau working and somebody's like actually helping with his cigarette while he's painting.
Well, he's
We,
painting.
we,
Yeah.
we could
Yeah,
be
and then there's
doing
like
that.
Matisse, who was like going blind
Yeah.
and couldn't move in his bed and did the cutouts,
Yeah.
and had his apprentices placing them for him while he directed them. And those are some of my favorite works of his that,
Yeah.
he did when his body was saying no thank you, but his brain was still wanting to create. So
Yeah. And as far as doing the shows, I mean, you can always get help. And
yeah,
yeah, I can't picture a time when I wouldn't want to be doing what I do.
right, right,
Why not just fast forward that this is my golden years as I'm in this beautiful golden light of the end of the day here. I'm just doing what I love doing, and people, are supporting me to do it.
right,
It's just a great
right.
thing.
Yeah, it is. It is an amazing thing, and that's, I mean, other artists get it. My friends that aren't artists are like, but don't you want to? And I'm like, no. I mean, do I want to not have to like hustle as hard? Of course. I mean, don't be silly, but um, yeah, I don't ever see me stopping creating artwork, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think my best work is ahead of me. I have yet to do what I'm really
Absolutely.
envisioning, in my head. I mean, there's things I mean, the paintings I finished, they're what I've settled for because I fell short of what I wanted to do. So I've yet to even hit
Yeah.
that level that I'm picturing at some point.
Yeah. But it's fun when you you're taking it to, I don't want to say the next level, but like a different level, and all of a sudden something clicks in your head and you're like, well, damn, look at that. Like,
Yeah.
this is good. And you know, you feel like a kid in a candy store. It's like the fountain of youth to be able to keep making things new again and again and again. For me, anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah.
So real quick, just why don't you plug 21 Days of Minis? What is the website? And maybe
Well,
Carrie
it's actually
or somebody
25.
that's
It's
on there could
25.
type it right in. And what is the
Me type it?
I don't know if I not with these big fingers,
Can
I've
I type
never trained.
things? Oh,
Well,
I
somebody
can.
else maybe
Look,
could. What
I'm the
is the website? Is it
I'm
like,
the
isn't it
worst
like 25
typist
days
in
of
the world.
minis.com?
I'm typing like 225 phase. I can't. There you go.
There it
Karen did it.
is.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
Um,
Yeah, 25 days
yeah, it's
of
really fun.
minis.com.
If you guys, if there are people out there who haven't checked it out, check it out. You used to. You're not doing it this year, I don't think, are you?
I know. I kind of I love doing it, and it was an excellent opportunity to explore new subjects that I could then realize in my larger works. But I have a bunch of exhibits coming up in Florida, and my
Yeah,
time is better spent just focusing on that.
yeah. And you don't work small
Well,
usually.
I can, but I would rather not. I like being big,
Yeah,
and immersive, and especially the abstracts. I'm really excited with the directions the abstracts are going in, and I'm
yeah.
finishing
They're
a
nice.
bunch of commissions right now of still lifes, but I'm so excited to get back into some big abstracts.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
So yeah, it really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Yeah. One of these days, David and I are going to paint together. David's going to show me some of his slapstick tricks.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
we've
and
been talking
maybe
about it for like a year. I'm
I know.
excited to make
Well,
it
well, now's
happen.
our window is now coming up. We already started talking about it. Maybe we'll get the camera running and we'll let people play fly on the wall and look in on the
Ooh,
studio while we're working.
that would be a fun what do you like the Facebook 5 o'clock club.
Oh yeah,
It could be the Sandy and David show.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll have to plan on a Thursday coming up
Yeah.
for that'll
The
be great.
crowds the crowds would go wild. The crowds would go wild, I'm telling you.
I can practice my stage diving. Um, well, thank you,
Would you
Sandy. This was
yeah,
fun.
that freaked me out. Those of you, David Oleski used to like be, were you like the lead singer for like it was like a punk band or something?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah. See, he won't even tell. I saw a picture. It's true. I know it happened.
yeah, it did happen. Today, I'm just cruising out in my golden years, just sipping from my Hello Kitty cup, and
I was kidding. Your bandmates would be mortified. Hey, I had the shaved on one side and really long on the other in the 80s. It was a look. It was a lot of look.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah,
the things we
I'm
did.
telling you, we thought it looked good. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've
well,
never
we
seen
grew
that
up.
look coming back. So,
Well,
yeah.
thank you again. This was great.
Oh, you're so welcome. It was really fun. It was, I miss seeing, that's the one, I don't miss the work from being on the board, but I do miss the people, and the team. I miss the interaction and, it's such a great team, but I
Yeah,
don't miss the work. So it was fun for me to be on the other side of this and just get to kind of talk for a little while. So thank you.
you're very welcome. Always
Are
welcome.
you supposed to plug anything for the show other than what we've already done? Applications
Yeah.
are open.
Applications are currently on Zap for, I believe, both shows.
Yeah.
So everybody can go ahead and submit your application. Don't be late because we do have
Don't.
deadlines.
And
And get
for those of
your
you that don't
application
know,
in.
that's Zapplication, Zapplication.org.
Yes, that is. It's just like the word application, but with a Z.
Let me see.
Zapplication.org. And you look
Let's
up
see.
Written Now Square Fine Art Show. We have one event in June and another event in September. They're both spectacular. It's different light. To me, that's the thing that I'm most aware of is the light. It's just, I mean,
Yeah,
the fall
yeah.
light is gorgeous, but the June light is just, it's got a freshness to it that's just
Well,
lovely.
but I also feel like, you know me, you tell me when to shut up because you know me, I'll talk to you forever.
That's
Um,
fine.
I feel like the crowds are different
Well,
too.
yeah.
Like, which is in a good way, not in a
Yeah.
bad way. Like in June, there's a lot of people in town that aren't necessarily locals who still come to buy. And then the September show, I feel like is more, um, for me anyway, it feels like a lot more of like the Philadelphia people who might not be around in June because people are going to the beach. So, the artists are different, the patrons are different, but they're both. Some artists like one show better than the other. I always thought, no, they're both amazing.
Yeah, they're both great. It's a different feeling to the year.
Yeah,
Everybody's doing their spring cleaning, getting ready for their planting and their summer, and so June has an excitement to it. But then September, it's the beginning of the fiscal year, beginning of the school year. Everybody. It's a different sense of starting things.
yeah. People are back in town. Students are back in. Yeah.
Yeah. So as
Student
far as
applications, I don't think
exhibitors
are
not
open
sure
yet.
which one to do, they're both really great,
Yeah.
and just
And
try
you
to do
don't have to
both.
do both. You can just do one if two don't fit into your schedule.
Yeah. It's a great place to be. It's just a wonderful city, and I always say plan an extra day or two before or
Oh, yeah.
after, so you can just explore the city. The museums. It is a world class museums. The Rodin Museum that it rivals the Mausoleum in Paris, and then the
Yeah, it's pretty
Museum of
amazing.
Art, and then the Barnes collection. There's a whole day there, just mind blowing
Yeah.
collection.
Yeah.
So
And the food. Like there are so many amazing. I always look forward to eating dinner,
yeah,
because there's some great restaurants.
yeah,
Just right
yeah.
on the square. Like you could throw a rock and hit a good restaurant from each side of the square practically.
Have you ever been
But don't
to
do that. Don't throw rocks.
Milagro? You ever been to Milagro?
No.
Have you ever been to Wilder?
No. See?
They're
You
right
never invite me
across. They're
anywhere.
right across the street from each other on Sansom by like the comedy club.
I know I've
Just
driven by them.
they're spectacular. Just both
All
of
right.
them. They're Italian or Italian fusion, but they're just epic. And of course there's the Dandelion and Smile Cafe that
Yeah.
is so kind of hosted
And then
our.
there's I love Park. People make fun of me because I love Park,
No,
but
park
Park
is
is
wonderful.
amazing.
That
Oh
park is
my God.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
so good.
It's
So good.
nonstop
I know
everywhere you go.
there's an artist, Philip, um, Abstracts.
Philip Michaels.
Ate. He was across from me at the September show. It was his birthday, and his dad was there. And
Ah,
he ate at Park. He ate at Park every day. And he had this. He wanted. If he's probably like, why are you talking about what I'm eating? But he ate the same thing every day. And he was like, I think it was like the lamb or the duck or something. And he's like, I don't care because it's delicious. And I was like, you don't have to tell me.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it's epic.
anyway,
Yeah,
well, maybe we'll go to Milagro in
I
June, David.
would love that. That'd be great.
All right. All right.
Okay.
Well, I will stop talking to you now.
Okay.
Thanks for having me. Thanks to everybody that jumped in and listened to our babble too.
We had a star-studded lineup here. It's like a who's who of
I'm telling
the
you.
show. It's
I'm telling you,
great fun.
I draw the VIPs, baby. I
You
draw the
do, you
VIPs.
do. You're the A-lister that everybody wants to be close to.
All right, my friend. Thanks
You're
again.
very welcome. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody. That was the famous Sandra Sedmak Engel. And I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. And again, the application is open on Zap. And thank you to everybody that joined us. And of course, this will live on forever on the Instagram page. So you can go in and review it just to feast your eyes upon how great we look. Thank you
You can just
again.
watch it over and over and over.
A constant repeat. Just love it. All right. Thank you all. This is me
Bye.
trying to stop this crazy thing.
Stop it, David.
I got it. There it is, I think.